You're walking down the street, nothing unusual, then you notice a bill on the ground. You pick it up, feel a rush, and think, what a lucky day. But something else happens. Minutes later, your phone rings. It's unexpected news, the kind that shifts everything. By the end of the day, it feels like events aligned with precision, not by logic, not by planning, as if guided by something you can't quite explain. Was that pure coincidence? Or is there a deeper mechanism at work? For centuries, humans have tried to understand why some people consistently attract favorable outcomes, while others seem stuck in endless setbacks. Is luck a random glitch in the system? Or is it a force we interact with more than we realize? Psychologist Richard Wiseman conducted a study involving volunteers reading a newspaper. He asked them to count the number of images. Most focused on the task. But on page 2, there was a message in large letters. Tell the researcher you saw this and win $50. People who believed they were lucky spotted it. Those who didn't missed it. This isn't magic, it's mindset. Research in neuroscience shows our brains filter over 11 million bits of information per second, yet we consciously process about 40. What we notice, what we call luck, often depends on our awareness, not our environment. Energy, perception, belief, they shape the experiences we think are chance. You weren't just lucky when you found that money, you were tuned in, you noticed. And that small moment may have shifted your entire day because your attention aligned with an opportunity. The question is, can we learn to create more of these moments? Yes. But it doesn't start by chasing luck. It starts by understanding how your mind, your focus, and your internal state shape the external results you experience. Not someday, not by accident, every day, deliberately. Long before psychology or quantum theory, civilizations were already trying to decode the forces that shaped reality. They didn't call it luck the way we do today, but they understood that certain people seemed to flow with life while others fought against it. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's the simplest way to stay connected to tools that support your alignment. In ancient Egypt, fortune was linked to cosmic balance. The goddess Ma'at represented truth, harmony, and divine order. To the Egyptians, being lucky meant living in alignment with those principles. Fortune wasn't random. It was a reflection of your internal balance and how closely your actions matched universal law. The Chinese called it shi, the energy of favorable timing and positioning. Through feng shui, they studied how objects, spaces, and directions influence the flow of opportunity. To them, luck came from harmony between the environment and the individual. When things were arranged correctly, life moved more smoothly. In the Roman world, fortune was a goddess, but she didn't give gifts without reason. Statues often showed her holding a wheel, symbolizing the ever-turning cycles of destiny. The phrase, "fortune favors the bold," wasn't just poetic. It reflected the belief that action, courage, and readiness opened the door to her blessings. Across these cultures, one message repeats: luck responds to alignment, not chance. You're not powerless. You're not at the mercy of chaos. There's a pattern beneath what seems unpredictable. These traditions weren't just myths. They were systems, ways of thinking, acting, and tuning in to a larger rhythm. When your thoughts, choices, and energy matched that rhythm, you experienced flow, synchronicity, timing, what we now call luck. Modern science is only starting to catch up to what these ancient systems already knew. Patterns exist, energy matters, intention influences outcome, but understanding this isn't enough. You have to embody it, because luck doesn't wait, it responds. Modern science has revealed something profound. Everything in the universe vibrates. From atoms to thoughts, everything emits energy, and that energy, whether chaotic or coherent, attracts experiences that match its signature. In neuroscience, this is closely tied to perceptual bias. What you expect, you tend to see. If your internal narrative is, "I'm always unlucky," your brain filters reality through that belief. You overlook opportunities, resist risks, and reinforce your own limits without realizing it. But when you shift your internal script, everything changes. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that individuals who practiced gratitude for just 2 weeks significantly increased their levels of optimism and noticed more positive events in daily life, not because their environment changed, but because their focus did. Now combine this with what quantum physics suggests. In experiments like the double-slit test, observation influences outcome. The act of focusing attention seems to affect how particles behave. If consciousness affects matter on that level, what might focused belief do to your personal reality? This doesn't mean you control everything, but it suggests your mindset interacts with reality more than you think. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that occur when your inner world aligns with the outer. These aren't random. They're moments when intention meets opportunity, a chance encounter, the right idea at the right time, a door opening without effort. You've likely experienced this. You think of someone and they call. You start a project and the right support shows up. These are not accidents. They're signals that your frequency and your focus are aligning with what you desire. But here's the truth. Luck doesn't favor the hopeful. It favors the tuned in, those who cultivate awareness, act with clarity, and stay open to possibility. Because life is not a lottery, it's a signal, and you are the antenna. It starts with awareness, but awareness alone won't change your life. What you believe, say, feel, and do must work together. That's where most people get stuck. They think wishing is enough. It's not. To attract consistent luck, you need to reprogram your internal system. This means interrupting the beliefs that quietly sabotage your progress. Maybe you grew up hearing, "Money doesn't come easy," or "Some people just have it better." But these ideas don't disappear. They become scripts your subconscious follows, even as you try to change your life. So the work begins inside. Start with targeted affirmations. Not vague, not wishful, clear, present tense statements that challenge your limits. I attract opportunities effortlessly. I am always in the right place at the right time. Luck flows through my actions. Repeat them daily, ideally in the morning when your brain is more open to suggestion. Look in the mirror and say them out loud. Sounds simple. It is, but repetition rewires pathways. What feels fake today can become your default tomorrow. Next, visualization. Just before sleep, picture moments where things go right. See yourself receiving a call with good news, stumbling upon a breakthrough, hearing yes when you expected no. Make it vivid. The subconscious speaks in images, and it doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination. Third, ritualized movement. Luck favors those who act. This doesn't mean rushing or forcing, it means responding. If you feel drawn to message someone, go somewhere, or try something unfamiliar, follow that pull. These nudges are not random. They're your intuition catching a signal. Add symbolic tools if they help your focus. Some people use crystals, candles, incense, or meaningful objects as energetic anchors. They aren't magical on their own, but your belief activates their power. Because ultimately, the most powerful ritual is action aligned with belief. Intention without movement is a wish. Intention with movement is a force. You notice people reacting differently to you. Conversations flow easier. Delays dissolve. Unexpected doors open. What changed? You did. When your thoughts, energy, and behavior align, the world adjusts around you. Not because it's magical, but because your brain, your actions, and your presence are now working in sync. This is where momentum begins. People who seem lucky aren't waiting around. They're paying attention. They move when others hesitate. They follow subtle cues, trust their timing, and act on quiet instincts. These small, consistent decisions create a rhythm that opportunity can follow. There's a psychological term for this: cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift focus, recognize patterns, and adapt quickly. According to a 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology, individuals with higher cognitive flexibility report greater life satisfaction and perceive more opportunities than those stuck in rigid thinking. Translation: lucky people are mentally agile. They see more because they're open to more. You can train this. Start by disrupting routine. Take a new route. Reach out to someone different. Say yes to something uncertain. These aren't random acts, they're recalibrations. Each one sends a signal. I'm open, I'm present, I'm ready. Also, pay attention to symbols. You don't need to believe in superstition to notice recurring numbers, phrases, or events. These moments, when they spark a deep feeling or unexpected clarity, aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. Your alignment is working. The shift from intention to reality doesn't always feel dramatic. Often it's subtle. A decision feels easier. A thought becomes clear. The right resource appears at the right time. This is the tipping point, when your reality begins to reflect your new frequency. And here's the truth: the more you trust that shift, the faster it compounds. What once felt like chance now becomes a pattern, a flow, a rhythm you can feel, follow, and live within. Not luck, not fate, alignment. Because luck isn't a one-time spark. It's a way of moving through life, awake, aligned, and responsive. This doesn't mean chasing constant perfection. It means becoming intentional with how you show up. It's in the way you start your day, the thoughts you feed, the space you keep, and the actions you choose even when no one's watching. Small daily practices create compound impact. Begin with gratitude, not as a trend, but as a tool. Write down what already works. Focus on what's flowing. The more you recognize abundance, the more your mind seeks evidence of it. Surround yourself with people who operate on higher frequencies. Those who take responsibility for their outcomes. Their energy is contagious. Observe how they think, speak, and respond to challenges, and adapt. Replace limiting language. Words shape reality. If you constantly say, "Nothing ever works for me," you're reinforcing scarcity. Instead, train your mind to speak in terms of possibility. Things are shifting. I'm aligned with opportunity. The right path is revealing itself. You're not lying to yourself. You're leading your mind to new evidence. Create a personal symbol of alignment, a number, color, or image that resonates with you. When it shows up, take it as a signal you're tuned in. These markers keep your awareness alive. They remind you that alignment is an active relationship, not a passive wish. Take consistent action, even when results aren't immediate. Most people give up too early, not because the path doesn't work, but because their energy collapses under doubt. Trust the process. Repeat the steps. Adjust when needed, but stay in motion, because the truth is simple. When your energy, beliefs, and behavior match your intention, the universe doesn't resist. It responds. Not someday, not by luck, now. The belief that fortune belongs only to the chosen few is a myth, one designed to keep you passive. But now you've seen what's beneath the surface: patterns, energy, timing, choice. Luck isn't chaos, it's coherence. You've learned to question the old script, the one that said you had to wait, struggle, or hope something would magically change. You've stepped into a new awareness that your focus, your intention, and your action are the architects of your experience. What you once called coincidence now feels like guidance. What you once thought was random now feels responsive. This isn't about controlling life. It's about participating in it differently, with clarity, trust, and presence. It's about listening deeper, acting bolder, choosing alignment over hesitation. Because when you live this way, things shift, not because the world owes you anything, but because you stopped working against your own current. You let go of resistance. You started responding to the signals. You remembered that you are not separate from the intelligence of the universe. You're part of it. And the most magnetic thing you can ever do is become coherent with your purpose. Let that guide your next step. Not fear, not doubt, not habit, but frequency, alignment, intention. You're not chasing luck, you're becoming it. If this content made sense to you, don't stop here. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future content. Now watch this next video where I'll show you another essential step to transform your reality. I'll see you there.